To you, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, and thanks to MBA Universe for having me here. Uh, it's a pleasure to be always associated with you guys. So, what are the key questions that I need to take today?
Yes, sir. Candidates are raising the query how to prepare for next 45 days. Is a peak time for them.
Right. So I would put you guys into. I mean, if I was in your place, I would the first thing I would do would be to find out how much preparation I've already done and where I'm standing with respect to my mock scores. I'm quite sure that by now almost everybody would have started some kind of taking mocks process. And when you start to take your mocks, you start to realize where you are standing and where you are lacking in terms of each of the areas. And by the time you take around 10 mocks, which I hope you guys have taken by now, I think the first port of call, so to say, is the point where you start to realize, okay, what is my base? What are my base scores in each of the three sections? So that's something that you must have stabilized by now. So and if the base score is according to the target score, so you have a target score. You should have a target score for each of the sections. So if the base score and the target score are similar to each other, then it's fine. Then it's more about maintenance in the next 45 days, maybe trying to push your base scores a little bit more up. By base score, what I mean is, let me first define these numbers. So when you start preparing for CAT, there's a target percentile you have, right? So each one of you who's preparing has a target percentile. Okay, this is what I'm preparing for. This is my target objective, and with that in mind, you start off preparing. So that percentile, whatever that percentile number is in your mind, it first has to get converted into a percentage or a score rather. So if you are targeting a 99 percentile, for example, the current structure of the CAT converts it to around 90-95 marks in your mocks. So if you want to score 95 percentile, you should be scoring 95 marks in your 90 to 95 marks in your mocks. Although last year CAT में 85 पे 99 percentile आ गया. That was a kind of an aberration. They'll continue or not, one does not know. So to put a factor of safety, if you are targeting a 95, 99 percentile, you should be looking at 9500 marks in your mocks. And then once you define that, once you convert your target percentile into a target score, which is more controllable because score is straight away controllable from the perspective of how many attempts you have and how many corrects you have. So once you have that target score in front of you, the next get down into the three sections. If you want to score 95 marks, how you want to score that 95? What is your section one score? Verbal score? What is going to be your DILR score? What is going to be your con score? So these become your kind of a targets. So let's just say that there's a student who has started with a thought in his mind that I want to score 99 percentile in the CAT this year, and with that perspective, he starts and his starting score or his target score becomes 95, and he thinks that he's slightly better at verbal than in cons. So he says that okay, I want to score 40 in verbal, 25 in DILR, and 30 in quants. So 40 plus 25 plus 30 is going to be my 95. How I'm going to score 95. That's my design for my 95 score. Then when you start taking the mocks, when you actually start taking the mocks, it's not necessary that you will be getting 40 in verbal and 25 in DILR and 30 in quants. So what will happen is when you start taking a verbal, your mock test and your sectional test, you will start seeing a certain kind of fluctuation in your score. Sometimes the score will be high, sometimes it will be low. But the base score that I was talking about is the kind of score that you start getting confidence after 7, 8, 10, 12 tests. That worst case, I'll do this much in verbal, or worst case, I'll do this much in quants. So let's say there's a student who had a design of 40, 25, and 30 as his targets, and his base score is turning out to be 25 in verbal, 15 in DILR, and let's say 15 in quants. So now there's a gap between what you want and what you are actually getting. So that the moment that gap gets identified, most likely, most hopefully, most of you must have identified that gap by now. Those of you who have not, please make sure that you identify the gap between your base and your target scores. And then the entire preparation, the last 45 days preparation is very important. A lot of people feel that last 45 days mein kuch nahi ho sakta hai, but that's the wrong way to think. You should actually focus on trying to give it your best shot in the last 45 days. And this gap, once you identify the gaps, the filling of the gaps is what the focus should shift to in the last 45 days. So you will have to find your processes. What are the things that are going to work? I'll give you a small example. As I said, let's say your target score is 40 in verbal and you're getting 25. So it seems that there's a lot of difference between your where you are and where you need to be. But it's actually a matter of just, let's say, 2 questions extra attempted and 3 errors removed. If you can remove 3 errors that you're making, and you can add 2 questions to your attempts by being a little bit faster, you might be getting a 25 because you are attempting 13 questions and getting 9 correct and 4 wrong. If you can start attempting 15 questions and getting 11, 12 correct or 13 correct, so that the errors are reduced, 2 of your errors are gone, and 2 extra questions are being attempted by you, you are suddenly on the border of what 40 is. So those are the kind of things that you need to identify, and you need to invest your time in that. We don't have the time any longer of 360-degree preparation ki pura syllabus prepare karo, pura process prepare karo. It's like, it's now about, I mean, you go into quants, you realize that, let's say, your permutation combination is not working. There are 2 questions in every mock that PNC is throwing up, and you're not getting those 2 questions because you've not done that chapter well. So just go ahead and study the permutation combination 5 to 8 hours, repair that issue, and come back and solve those questions. Start solving those questions. You get a jump of 6 marks. So it's all about how you're going to score. I mean, the resource you have got last 45 days. If I'm assuming, let's say, you got 2 study sessions of let's say 3 hours each on every day. So you have 90 study sessions left in your preparation timeline. So 90 study sessions is out of which, let's say, you will take 30 to 40 study sessions for taking mocks. So the remaining 50 study sessions is essentially to work out things, to make sure that you have done the due diligence with every area. You have completed your portion. Whatever portion is left out, you've done a second round of the quants portion. Specifically, you've done a second round of solving of the DI and LR that you have done. So it's about doing those things, the gaps, finding the gaps in your preparation and trying to bridge those, so that your outcomes become what they should be. So that's the whole perspective around this time. And a lot of people, I mean, there's another thing I would like to do. There are 3-4 points I would like to make. And the second point I would like to make is that a lot of people around this time start to get very despondent with their preparation because of this mismatch between what they're trying to get and what you're actually getting in their scores. And this is the point where people start losing their shape, so to say, with respect to preparation. So I always tell people, I mean, it's time for you to be a man or a woman and face up to what your preparation level is. I mean, whatever the score is, it might be below your target or below your expectation from yourself, but fight it out. I mean, it's time to fight out, face the result as it is, and don't get too tense about the results. One of the things that specifically those of you who are in a good range score wise and need to make sure that you need to perform on the D-Day. One of the things you guys need to do during this time is what I call as dissociation from the results. You need to tell yourself that whatever the result is, you'll be able to take care of yourself, and you'll be able to live your life positively beyond that. If you go into the CAT with a lot of result dependence in the CAT, it typically does not work on the day. So you need to be in a free from the result expectations on the day of the exam. So that's another process that you initiate in the last 45 days specifically, where you tell yourself that I'm okay with whatever results happen. I'm proud of the way I worked, and that gives me a lot of pride in myself, and I'm willing to take the results as they come. So these are a few things that one should focus on during this time, right? So identify the topics, the chapters that are making that are creating a problem for you in your sessions, in your in your cons. DILR, you still can do a lot, because DILR, if you know, the total preparation for data interpretation and logical reasoning is close to it's close to 200 250 sets, right? Normally 200 250 sets should be enough for you to complete your data interpretation and logical reasoning preparation. But and in that context, 45 days is enough to actually do around 150 more sets. So you've got roughly 60%. I mean, the amount of work you've got left in DI and LR is possibly equal to 50%, 60% of your total DILR requirements. So there's a lot of water still to flow below the bridge. And the most important part is to fight till the last moment. And as I said, be a man and face up to whatever results you're getting, and take it as feedback. Whatever scores, even if you're getting bad scores, I keep getting pings from my students. Some students say that मेरा score 40 के ऊपर नहीं जा रहा है, 50 के ऊपर नहीं जा रहा है. तो ठीक है, that's, I mean, it's an indication of how you're prepared during the year, and you face up to the facts. Once you face up to the facts, you can actually try to push yourself and go further up. So these are things that one should focus on. Quant syllabus, focus on. Make sure one more thing you should also make sure is this is the time now, last 45 days, to actually complete every question of the past CAT papers, be it quants, DI, LR. So when I say past CAT papers, as you know, 2009 to 2016 papers you'll not get anywhere. They were not released by the AMS. So 1999 to 2008, those 10 years, and then 2017 to 2022, every paper you should know. Every question of DI, every question of verbal, every RC passage, you have to know inside out why, what the answer was, how the answer came. In RC, what was the reason this was the answer versus not that. So all those reactions, you never know. It's a matter of just a couple of questions here or there on the reading. So keep fighting for it. Right. So that's basically the messages I would want to give to somebody who's in the last 45 days of preparation.
So there is a query. Yesterday, some of the aspirants asked, should they continue taking mocks till the last day of or a day or two before the CAT exam, or should they stop much
I think
before?
typically they should continue till 2 days, 3 days before the CAT.
Right.
And typically also, once you get your time slot, they have not released the time slots that you've got. Once you get your time slot, whether it's a 8:30 slot or a 12:30 slot or a 4:30 slot, once that gets defined, you should start taking your mocks exactly at that time. The last 10, 15, 20 mocks you should keep doing exactly at that time.
Right.
And make sure that you take the CAT 17 to 22 papers as actual papers, actual tests. So that'll give you a very strong indication of where you actually, because a mock is a mock. It's ultimately a simulation of the CAT. The actual CAT replication of the actual CAT paper is something that you should definitely work on in this time, so that you actually find out where you would be on an actual CAT exam.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Couple of questions have come here, which I'll take. Anu says, with the number of candidates increasing this time, will it impact the target score? No, I don't think so, because see, when 2 lakh people give the CAT, 99 percentile is the top 2,000 people, right? When 3.3 lakh people are giving the CAT, the 99 percentile score will be 3,300 people. So it's just a statistical measure. So it is there's no need to be. I see a lot of people who are very nervous about the fact that more people are giving the exam. It does not matter at all. If I mean, for every 100 new people who are giving, extra people who are giving CAT, there's one person who's getting a 99 percentile extra. So it's the same. The ratio remains the same. It does not matter.
It's
Devansh is asking, can you please tell something for beginners? So
Yeah.
beginners for CAT 24. I hope it's not for CAT 23, Devansh. And Vivek is again making a statement. Okay, I'll talk about CAT 24, Devansh. Vivek is making a statement. I'm getting exhausted till I reach pond section. What should I do? This is something which I find very funny. Simply because of the fact that when CAT was a 3-hour exam, the people used to say, I get tired in the 3rd hour after 2 hours. When it became a 120-minute exam, people are getting tired after 80 minutes. So I wonder if they make it a 15-minute exam, people get tired after 10 minutes. So it's a mental weakness that you are succumbing to. And one of the things that you can do to overcome that, I think, could be that one suggestion I could have is that instead of setting for 2 hours for mocks, what you do is you sit for a 2-hour mock, and then immediately after you finish, do a 40-minute section test. So that will help you in your preparation a little bit. Take care of this. And Devansh is talking about CAT 24. CAT 24 ke liye, I think you can go through. I mean, the first due diligence for CAT 24 starting now has to be a 5-month period where you actually go through the complete 360-degree preparation for quants, verbal and data interpretation and logical reasoning. So I think what you can do is you can start if you're starting now, which is literally end of September, early October, let's say. So October, November, December, January, February should be for completion of portion of all the areas. You should finish the 20 chapters of maths in those 5 months. You should finish the 7 days per chapter should be your target in quants. You should finish around 200-250 sets of DI and 250 sets of LR. So problem solving wise, please remember, in data interpretation, logical reasoning, there is no theoretical preparation. It is all it's always there's no theoretical preparation. It's always everything you learn is through problem solving. So 250 sets of LR, 250 sets of DI. 5 months में 20 chapters of quants and literally also verbal का जो basics requirement है, a lot of reading. Maybe you can put a target of, let's say, around 600 to 700 articles of reading that you will work on, and along with the reading, the vocabulary work that you need to do. So and also you need to start solving each of those verbal question types. So वो जो basic preparation होता है first 5 months का, उसको complete करो February तक. And for CAT 24, you have the opportunity to actually do the complete preparation at least 3 times from now. So by February, you should complete 1 round of the complete preparation, 360 degrees. Then end of February, you should assume that you're a fresh starter for CAT. And from February to March, April, May, you should plan a 2nd round of the entire syllabus. So that by the time you start your mocks in May, June next year, you have completed everything 2 times. Right?
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
Most
you so
scoring
much.
section, all sections are scoring. DI is slightly less scoring than quants, and LR verbal is also obviously equally scoring. So verbal and quants are the scoring areas. Yeah, last 2-3 days, whether you take a mock or not, does not matter in the last 2-3 days. Sometimes if you take a mock in a couple of days before the exam and you don't perform well in that, you might drop your confidence, which is why we don't suggest to take a mock after the last, during the last week. I mean, 3 days before the exam ke baad, ya 2 days before the exam. So Sunday exam hai, Friday last mock le lo, that's it. Ya Thursday last mock le lo, that's it.
Right, sir. Thank you.